Welcome back to see today's 2022 in 30 minutes, the economic milestone. And as I mentioned, 2022 had featured a milestone for Indonesia when the country held the G20 summit in Bali. A number of heads of states had all praised Indonesia for successfully hosting the event. And the summit gathered leaders from the most powerful countries in the world, including American President Joe Biden, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and many others under one roof. Now, we're going to take a look back at this momentous occasion and what it has accomplished.
Indonesia's G20 presidency is officially over. And to say it's been an eventful year would be quite an understatement. 2022 was a year filled with pandemics, war, and all sorts of crises, making an already difficult event even more complicated for the host country. The culmination of the G20 presidency came and went last November. So, let's take a look back and see how it all went down.
We have no other option. Paradigm of collaboration is badly needed to save the world. We all have responsibility, not only for our people, but also for the people of the world. Being responsible means respecting international laws and principles of the UN Charter consistently. Being responsible means creating win-win, not zero-sum situations. Being responsible here also means that we must end the war.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo set the tone early on his opening remarks of the G20 summit, highlighting the need for all the G20 countries to set aside their differences and come together to create solutions. The president also notably mentioned ending the war, a quote which many media outlets headlighted as a possible direct jab at Russia for its role in the Russia-Ukraine war. The summit did not shy away from questions regarding the war in Ukraine. However, the leaders' declaration eventually made clear their stance on the matter. Prior to the opening remarks, another historic moment played out in the Apurva Kempinski Nusa Dua Bali, where the summit took place, namely the arrival of the G20 delegates. President Joko Widodo himself personally welcomed each and every one of delegates. Among those who arrived was American President Joe Biden, Chinese President Xi Jinping. The delegates of the G20 countries worked together to approve leaders' declaration, which laid down solutions for G20 priority agenda, which were global health infrastructure, food and energy security, as well as digital transformation. The presence of many prominent world leaders also allowed several bilateral meetings to take place. These include a bilateral meeting between Indonesia and the US, which discussed the two countries' cooperation in the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. A meeting between Indonesia and China saw the showcase of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway, as well as signing of several memorandums of understanding in the field of digital economy, as well as research and conservation. And finally, a highly anticipated meeting was held between the US and China, which discussed various geopolitical issues, including the Russia-Ukraine war, North Korean missile threats, and One China policy, which has become a source of tension between the two countries. The summit concluded on the Wednesday, November the 16th, and one of the key results of the summit was the creation of the Pandemic Fund, which seeks to bolster the health infrastructures of vulnerable countries in the event of another pandemic. Several G20 countries, as well as some philanthropic organizations, such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, contributed more than $1.4 billion to the fund.
Terima kasih kepada yang mulia semua dan juga selamat jalan and have a safe trip. Dan baiklah, dengan ini saya nyatakan KTT G20 di Bali, Indonesia ditutup. Terima kasih dan palu kepemimpinan saya serahkan kepada India.
President Joko Widodo officially concluded Indonesia's G20 presidency by ceremoniously handing over the gavel to India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will host the next year's G20 summit. India will bring forward the theme One Earth, One Family, One Future for next year's summit and emphasize the importance of data for development, which intends to bring about equality by using digital transformations to eradicate poverty and solve the climate change.
The G20 summit and the presidency itself was not without setbacks. But all in all, considering the political conflicts and the general instability of the world at the time the G20 was held, it's fair to say that Indonesia succeeded and proved that it is powerful, capable, and is able to be a bridge for peace and cooperation to all countries. Aris Darta and Reza Anindita for C Today.
We're going to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to take a look at major economic events that happened around the world this year. Stay tuned.